Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
That is a good identifier. So we can identify you. We don't want your offspring. We don't want to have sex with you.
Oh, no.
You're nasty. You're disgusting. You're like a flea. We don't want you, period. Get. Bye-bye.
Oh, wow.
Okay, bye-bye. I'm sorry. I'll just be over here recovering from him not wanting to have sex with me. Oh, God. I don't think I was really a lesbian until just that moment. Okay. As a guy calling C-SPAN. Okay. Listen, we've been wanting to meet this lady for a long time. I'm sorry, now that I'm in my downward spiral. Florida Democratic Chair Nikki Fried is here. We could not be more excited. You just said, I love your tweet. You said, we told you they wanted to make America Florida. And you said he picked America. Let us introduce you to Pam Bondi. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Nikki, where do we even start with Pam Bondi? You go first.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. And I love waking up to that caller. That just really kind of sets the tone for so much of what's going to happen the next 4 years. But yeah, it's, watching kind of after the election and watching one Republican after the other from Florida make its way to Washington, D.C. And it kind of keeps getting worse. We started off, with Susie Wiles, and then we went to Marco Rubio, and then we went to Mike Waltz, and then we went to Mike Huckabee, who had a short stay here in the state of Florida, then Matt Gaetz, and now we're at Pam Bondi. They're like really picking the.
At least Marco Rubio is just a spineless weasel.
Right.
But
I don't know who's going to trust him in a negotiation room.
Nikki, I know we're not in any kind of normal world, political or otherwise, right now. But how do you get confirmed as Attorney General when I'm not a lawyer? But how is that not a bribe she took? She took $25,000 to drop the suit against Trump University, which when they did prosecute it in state after state, he was found guilty as sin in the Trump University scam. Then you got someone, she's on record as being a January, what do you call it? Election denier. Then on record as saying she will prosecute the prosecutors and investigate the investigators. I mean, there's not a normal world that she would be confirmed in, is there?
No, there's not a normal world. That somebody who has built her entire reputation of being just in bed with special interests and lobbyists and people that are pay to play. And she wasn't Florida's Attorney General. She was a special interest Attorney General, and she's certainly not going to be the people's Attorney General. She's going to be the attorney for Donald Trump. Right. She's done that, prosecuted. If you remember, during the first impeachment, she was represented Donald Trump. She, filed a lawsuit against the ACA, which I think that we need to be very clear. The ACA is Obamacare. I think that now everybody's
don't tell them. Yeah. Right.
But
you said you retweeted. She attempted to sue the ACA out of existence and overturn the pre-existing conditions rule. This is who she is, right?
That's right. And for anybody who's listening from Florida, there are 4.2 million Floridians that are on Obamacare ACA. And some of the reddest parts of our state, including Hialeah, number one city. So when they start getting rid of ACA, all of these people who are using healthcare are going to find themselves in a really big bind, not able to find the access that they need.
We're looking for silver linings, Nikki, and at least we have been spared from Senate Majority Leader Rick Scott, who I still don't understand why he's not in prison for Medicare fraud. I'm sorry, go ahead. What?
I have one more silver lining.
Yes.
Susie Wiles despises Ron DeSantis.
Oh.
So that's a very big silver lining. Ron DeSantis will have no access to the White House. He will have to come on his hands and knees begging for access and help, and she's going to slam the door on him single.
Yeah, and Nikki, you retweeted about Florida this week agreed to pay $725,000 in legal fees after losing a lawsuit that challenged a signature anti-woke law pushed by Ron DeSantis to restrict workplace training about race. And you just said more of your money gone because of Ron's culture wars. I mean, these are the fiscal conservatives that remember how they used to always scream about frivolous lawsuits?
Right. Frivolous lawsuits, frivolous spending of taxpayer dollars, conservatism. He literally has signed into law the largest state budgets in Florida's history. He has spent, that is just a snapshot of the money. He spent $50 million of taxpayer dollars to go after Amendment 3 and Amendment 4, which was the legalization of cannabis as well as reproductive health care, abortion rights. And he spent $50 million of our dollars to impress voters. I mean, this guy is not a fiscal conservative. He wastes money. I mean, remember that him taking all of those flights of the migrants from Texas to Martha's Vineyard, and then we've been sued on
stunts. Yeah,
he is just wasting so much money for stunts.
I picture Mickey Mouse just like holding him upside down and all Florida taxpayer money falling out of his pockets. Nope, I'm not done. You also you retweeted about everybody in almost everybody. Trump's transition team turns to Project 2025, top to bottom, Project 2025 people. And John Cooper said, "Wait, so you're telling me that Trump and Vance repeatedly lied to all of America during the campaign? I'm gobsmacked." I mean, here we are, right? Where we were just talking about people just Googling what's a tariff, and somebody said, somebody tweeted, "I love how the headlines have changed now that the media realizes Americans have no idea how tariffs work. This would have been helpful a few weeks ago." I mean, I think you tweeted about the what's her name? Kelly Loeffler. Oh my God, Secretary of Agriculture. You said, "Oh my God."
We got spared there too. It ends up not being Kelly. Yeah, it's this other woman, Brooke.
Oh, okay.
Who also lost her congressional.
Right, but
I mean, she went to Texas A&M, and that was her qualifications to be Secretary of Agriculture. She went to Texas A&M and has a degree in agriculture or something like that.
Right. Well, it just there's like Kim tweeted a reminder: the last time Trump declared a trade war on China using tariffs, Beijing stopped buying U.S. soybeans. The price crashed. The Trump administration had to spend billions subsidizing the U.S. soybean producers through handouts or socialism, if you prefer. I mean. It's all what we just have memory hold all the last time he tried these disastrous policies, right?
And if anybody knows, in the last 24 hours, he said that he was going to put a 25% tariff on Canada and on Mexico. First and foremost, that violates the USMCA, which was the old NAFTA. It's something that he spent 4 years negotiating with that trade agreement with Canada and Mexico. So one, that violates USMCA, which was NAFTA. Two, if anybody thinks that is going to decrease the price of food in our country, they have lost their mind. You'll start seeing such an increase in cost of goods and in cost of food by just that one act of tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
Yeah. Weirdly, Tristan Snell, who successfully prosecuted Trump University in New York, so weird. I guess Pam Bondi just didn't have any of the same evidence, huh? He said, so Donald Trump wants to deport millions of immigrants and kill the H-2A visas for temporary farm workers. Then he wants to place a 25% tariff on all Mexican goods. When we import over $17 billion of food a year from Mexico, your grocery bill is going to triple under Trump. I mean, it is amazing how quickly the find out portion of the F around and find out plan is going, right?
Well, the reality is, it's so frustrating here. Here in the state of Florida, for your listeners to know, like I was Commissioner of Agriculture in 2018. I was the only statewide elected Democrat, and so I sat for 4 years in the cabinet with Ron DeSantis, and talked about all of his immigration policies here in the state of Florida, wanting to again deport people and to remove people and to arrest people. When we've got 2 million people that work inside of agriculture inside the state of Florida, which is the second largest economic driver of our state, 1 million are undocumented. Do you know what's going to happen to the ag industry in the state of Florida? And those are H-2A workers and illegal immigrants. Yeah. On top of that, construction, number 3. We're going to be in a real economic crisis here in our state.
Yeah. Well, and one last one I wanted to throw at you. So Elon Musk tweeted, the price of fentanyl will rise sharply. And Joey tweeted, you can choose to believe Elon is too dumb to understand tariffs and or international negotiations work, or you can choose to believe he's a billionaire car company owner who benefits from tariffs on competitors' cars made in Mexico and Canada. Most of the fentanyl, comes from Americans going through. This is not, none of this makes any sense, does it?
None of it makes any sense, and none of it is built on reality. But we as, kind of the resistance movement, the other side of this conversation, have to do a better job, like we're doing now, talking about these things, debunking them, getting into the minds of all of those people that voted for Donald Trump for the price of eggs or the price of milk, or more importantly, they thought, that the number one issue for Democrats were social issues. When I have gone through, as the head of the Democratic Party of Florida, friends all over the country, I don't know one candidate in one city, one county, one election that talked about social issues. Every Democrat talked about affordability of this country. And unfortunately, the Republicans, branded us, and we've got to spend a lot of time,
Yeah.
kind of unwinding, that those lies and that's misinformation.
Right, defending trans people when, most people, I'm sure, don't even know a trans person, and yet you're right, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars fear-mongering about trans people. Nikki, how do we fight state by state? I was happy to see in my sister's home state of North Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper just signed a veto, because they talk about whiny, sore losers. So they lost almost everything in North Carolina except for, Trump won, right? So now the Republicans immediately tried to pass a bill stripping power from all Democrats. So thank God for now, Governor Cooper was able to veto that. But, and out here, let me just tie in California. Gavin Newsom has announced that if Trump fulfills his pledge to end the federal EV tax credit, California will implement a rebate for non-Tesla electric cars to replace them. I mean, I think that's fantastic. That's a brilliant way to fight back.
Yeah, and that's exactly, Democrats are going to have to be gritty. They're going to have to be smart. They're going to have to be strategic, because that's what the Republicans have done. We didn't wake up one day and all of a sudden, like, the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025 is controlling this country. They have been methodical the last 30 years, building this foundation, building this ground game. And so it's going to be important for Democrats to be smart, to know that we've got the right policies on our side. We know how to fix the economy. We know how to produce good paying jobs. We know how to balance budgets. We know how to protect our people. We know how to create good paying jobs. So we're going to have to continue to be out there talking about the things that are important to the people, but be really smart and witty when we're doing so. Well,
what's your take? A lot of people have floated, when they've obviously already started threatening blue states, saying they're going to cut off federal funding if you don't help us with these, mass deportations and tearing families apart. Well, how does a blue state fight back? Because people have said, well, California is the fourth largest economy in the world. If we withhold our tax money, I mean, I'm not sure what's doable legally, but if they threaten us and cut off federal funding, obviously, as you know, the blue states, we fund all the taker red states, right? So,
yeah. I mean, look, if you think about it, I mean, we're getting into a really dangerous time for our country, where we are going to be separating out our country into blue and red states. And I always just go back to Obama's, convention speech. We aren't red states, we aren't blue states, we're the United States of America. And what Donald Trump and the MAGA extremism is trying to do is actually divide us. So the governors that are governing blue states, and even, those that are in bluer states, are going to have to come together to figure out ways to protect their citizens, to protect their people, to pass policies that are going to be, helpful and showing, how a red state and a blue state operates. Florida right now is the most unaffordable state in the nation. Our property insurance has increased 400% under Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Because they have just let
insurance. It's impossible to insure your house in Florida.
Impossible.
Yeah.
So not only is property insurance number one, you've got an affordability on housing crisis because we've been gutting the Affordable Trust Fund, housing trust fund for the last 30 years of Republican governor control. So we have a housing shortage.
Yeah.
So all of these things are starting to compound. And now we're going to get rid of ACA. And if we're not going to expand Medicaid, we're going to be in a situation that you can tell that the health of a country in a state by the health of its citizens. And we're going to be in a situation, especially if RFK gets any of his way, we're at a time when people are going to have to go to blue states to have access to general health care.
Yeah.
It's going to really be an imbalance.
That'll be that's an out-of-the-box message, as heroin helps you study, kids.
Yeah.
I saw that today too.
Okay. when you said Obama and we're the United States, I was like, but are we? Like that caller to C-SPAN just said, you Democrats get. Okay. Well, so I'll be here, I don't know, getting a nose ring. What else, Chris? Shaving my head. I got stuff to do, Nikki. I gotta go.
Tubes.
Tying my tubes.
We can do a really good fundraiser together. We can do a fundraiser of people paying us to shave our heads, right?
There you go. Nikki Fried, Democratic chair of the party there in Florida. Please come back and see us. It's so nice to meet you finally. I'm here with the incredibly handsome Dr. David Silverman to talk about ASEA Renew that I am holding in my hand. This stuff is amazing. Revitalizing Redox Gel. You hold up, you have you can it comes in drink form, and this is the gel form. I love, first of all, that supermodel Carol Alt will be promoting this. She's taken so many jobs from me, so I am so happy.
Just to give some context, because I have to tell you that this is very unique. This is not, it's not a pharmaceutical, it's not a nutritional product. It's something that our cells make. It's called redox signaling molecules. But bottom line is, our cells make redox signaling molecules. Your body makes it right now, but we all made more of it when we were younger. What's in this bottle is in you. It's in me, right? But I'll be 64 in 2 weeks, and I feel like I'm 30 years old. I've been drinking this for 13 years.
Wow. Doc, what a thrill to meet you and to hear more about this, because, you know, it's you just kind of go, oh, it works, but to hear about the why is fascinating to me. Dr. David Silverman, what a joy and a pleasure, and thank you so much.